all of these are good fats, except when we heat them up. Once you heat them up, this is what happens when you start frying with it. These are 12 different vegetable oils. Notice we have 4 of them here. They have lower oxidation. Those are olive oils, the best olive oil, extra virgin olive oil you can imagine. But once you heat that up, it's half as bad, but it's still bad. Why? Because the oxidation depends on the concentration of omega-6s in those fats. And even the avocado oil and extra virgin olive oil still has about 15% of that. And that's what creates these compounds that we call alkanols. They are actually aldehydes and trans fats. And that is the problem. Okay? So here, if you want to predict which vegetable oil is the best or which anything to heat, it has nothing to do with their melting point, contrary to what's been told to us. It has something to do with what kind of fat is oxidable when you heat it up or not that creates those aldehydes. And if I were to look at that, sunflower oils, by the way, Romanians are big in sunflower oil. It's the best oil you can use, amazing taste, 60%, disaster. And you go all the way down to olive oil, 15%, avocado oil, about 14%. And then palm oils, and then see I put in green from omega-6, oxidation part, since like the tallow, coconut oil, and again, butter actually are the less oxidizable, okay, from that perspective. All right, well, why am I so interested in that? Because if you heat anything with any kind of oil or fat, whatever omega-6 and 3s they have in it, under the heat, they become either trans fats, or the trans fats further, they move to aldehydes. What's wrong with the trans fats? Number one is they stay forever in our body. We have no enzyme to metabolize that. They go into your lipid membranes in all our cells. They never go away. Number two, they're highly oxidizable, and basically they oxidize your cell, and they do part of that, what I was telling you about. Actually, there are experiments when done. You take a burger that's cooked with trans fats, and you leave it outside for a year. Not even bacteria can metabolize that. It's just as good as first day. All right, the same with the French fries. So that's important to know. And you say, well, you eat it, but it doesn't get absorbed from a gut. Not true. This is evidence showing you that they get absorbed. And the more oxidized your environment, the worse your hemoglobin A1C, the longer they persist in our chylomicrons and in our body. So they do get inside our body, and the damage that creates depends what your hemoglobin A1C and overall your oxidative status. All right. So the dietary actually oxidized fatty acids are so proportional to the level of the hemoglobin A1C in patients with diabetes. What is the ultimate worst bad fat is trans fats. And you say, well, trans fats have been banned about 10 years ago. You're not supposed to have more than 1% in anything you sell. Well, there is a catch. You still have this Crisco, all vegetable shortening. You know what this used for? For the cheese in the Philly burgers or the Philly steaks, which is the best tasting, sandwich you have. And the reason is, it's present new. You can find that Kroger. And it's true. They don't have trans fats. Okay. This mac and cheese, all the prepackaged mac and cheese that you buy, that's what's used, vegetable cheese. And here is the key. Why? They're correct from chemical perspective. These are not trans fats. But the key word is fully hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated. All you need is one heating up and they convert to trans fats. So that's why it's legal. They can sell still this on the market. By the way, this is the same thing that Crisco came out with it over 60, 70 years ago. Nothing has changed. And of course, you're not going to eat it like that. You're going to have to melt that cheese. I'm going to use it. So I just want to warn you, just pay attention. Anything that has partial hydrogenated or hydrogenated, you're eating trans fats. Okay? That's what I mean by processing. So it's disaster. And the reason why it's a disaster, because changing this from this as a straight chain, it creates aldehydes. Once they incorporate in our cell membrane, it's like have a source of fire that keeps refueling everything and keeps oxidizing nonstop our cells. And you say, well, it's okay. I don't buy that. I don't need that. Yeah. Well, do you buy this from cooked cakes that are already made for birthdays? Do you bring it to your colleagues for their happy birthday? These are all trans fats. They're made the same. They're not made. Now, they're made with butter. That's why you make it home. Different story. But these are not made with butter. You know why? It costs 5 times more. They don't use that. So that's not right. Now you can look at this and say, hey, Instead of using the shortening, I'm going to use the butter. I make myself at home. That's better. But you may be exposed more than you think. So how about this? You go, and when I'm going to eat healthy today, I always like to, I tell my patients to watch how our nutritionists eat when they go to cafeteria. You guys are amazing role model, by the way. You know, you actually do what you say. And it's wonderful. It's a big salad, excellent. You know, put your chicken or your tuna fish there, eat very healthy. One catch, you add this little extra dressing that was just there ready to grab, and it's fine. Okay, let me help you to show you what we have in that dressing. Total fat, 29 grams. Saturated fat, which is supposed to be bad for you, 5 grams. The toxic compound is what not in the label. It's because it's 29 minus 5, we have 24 grams of polyunsaturated fats. Now, where's that coming from? And if I were to divide 24 by 4, because 1 teaspoon is 4, I have 6 teaspoons of vegetable oil. You know, it's easy. You look at it, it says soybean oil. Now, soybean oil has already what we talk about, oxidized omega-6s that you put there. And then you have 100 other compounds, nobody knows their name. And I call them FEPs, flavor enhancers, emulsifiers, preservative, and sweeteners, which now, little by little, everybody agrees they're bad for you. All right? But that's the problem. Once we do this, even if it's a very small amount, everything you ate that day is completely converted. Your liver and your body got the signal. Winter is coming. You're going to have to store this. Doesn't matter that you just ate a beautiful salad. So that's how we identify. Now, can you